The Gospel of Matthew records for us a discussion between Christ and his disciples regarding the wonder and majesty of the temple standing before them. Christ's warning to them was as shocking as it was profound. He says, as recorded in Matthew chapter 24, "See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down." The ancient stones of the temple, which can be found on the Roman pavement at the foot of the Temple Mount, were thrown down by the Roman soldiers when Jerusalem was taken. They stand today as a silent yet eloquent witness to the suffering and tragedy that knew no bounds at that time. The temple and all of the work of Herod the Great's building projects in this place were to be destroyed. The corruption and wickedness of the ruling and religious authorities had ascended up before the God of Israel, reaching a climax in the death of his own Son, the Lord Jesus Christ. And so, the Jewish nation as a political body was to come to an end, not to be seen again for thousands of years. The scriptures record this as being a cataclysmic event in the purpose of God. The last days of Judah's commonwealth and the destruction that took place in AD 70 were written about as far back as in the book of Deuteronomy in the law, as well as in the prophecy of Daniel, amongst other Hebrew prophets. Christ would also warn of the coming events, and the context of many of the epistles written to the early ecclesias was set in this period of time. The account of the revolt of Judea and the eventual destruction of the temple, as recorded in the works of Josephus, is a story of terrible violence, death, infighting, and tragedy. Josephus described the events leading up to and surrounding the revolt in his work called The Jewish War. He begins with these words: "The war fought by the Jews against the Romans was not only the greatest war of our time, but could well be one of the greatest collisions between states or nations of which word has come down to us." In the words of Christ, it would be a time of trouble such as there had never been and would never be again. We read in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 21, that the Jews would be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem would be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles were fulfilled. Titus's capture of Jerusalem would result in Gentiles occupying the land of Israel and Jerusalem for thousands of years. The Romans would eventually call the city of Jerusalem Aelia Capitolina, as if to erase the centuries of Jewish history that connected the people to the land. The Jews would be scattered into many nations, as Jeremiah had foretold, and they would be persecuted from place to place. The words of the 137th Psalm would become painfully relevant in the Jewish mind from this time forwards. "If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget its cunning. Let my tongue cleave to the roof of its mouth, if I set not Jerusalem above my chiefest joy."